Well, thank you. This is a story called Old Joe and the Carpenter. Old Joe had a farm way out in the country, and he only had one neighbor, a man that he had grown up with. They had been the best man at each other's wedding. They had helped each other bury each other's wife. They were happy being together. They were the best of friends until one day they had an argument. There was a small calf that wandered on the neighbor's property, and Joe said, "Ah, that calf looks just like my Bessie. I bet it's my calf." And the neighbor said, "Joe, your your eyes are as bad as your disposition. Now, what are you saying? Why do you want my calf?" Well, that argument went on for nearly an hour, till both just gave up and walked away. Well, not a word was said between them for over a week. And then one morning, Joe heard a knock on the door, and he answered, and there was a young man with a box of tools on his shoulder and said, "I'm a carpenter. I'm looking for some work. Do you have some odd jobs that I might be able to do?" "Well, young man, come in. Let's sit down and talk a while." So Joe kindly shared the remainder of his breakfast with the young man, and after breakfast said, "Young man, I think I have a job for you. Look out the window over there. Do you see that small stream running between my place and the neighbor's? That wasn't there a week ago. Just to spite me, he took out his plow. He dug a ditch from the upper pond all the way down, so now that there's a stream there, just so I couldn't walk across to his place. I'll show him. I want you to build me a fence so tall that I can't even see his place." "Well," said the young man, "I've got the tools, a few of the wood and the nails. I'll do a job that I'm sure you'll like." So old Joe took him down to the barn and showed him the wood and the nails, and then he hitched up the wagon to go into town to do some errands. Well, the carpenter took the wood down to the stream, and he began to saw and he began to nail and began to saw and began to nail, and he worked until nearly sundown when his job was finally finished. It's about that time that old Joe came back from town in his wagon. And Joe was anxious to see the fence, but didn't see any fence at all. Instead, he saw a bridge from his place to his neighbor's place. Oh, it was a fine bridge. There were handrails on each side, and his neighbor stepped onto the bridge and was coming across and said, "Ah, Joe, I couldn't have done that. You're quite the man. I'm glad we're being friends again." "Well," said Joe, "I'm glad we're being friends again, too. That calf was certainly not worth it. It's probably yours anyway." And then the young carpenter was packed up his tools and was walking away and just said, "Young fellow, come back here. I've got some more jobs for you." But the carpenter said, "Ah, Joe, I'd like to stay, but I need to go. I've got more bridges to build." And that's the story of old Joe and the carpenter.